Factorizing quadratics is the process of breaking down a quadratic expression into two binomial factors. A quadratic expression is typically in the form of x squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are constants and x is the variable. The purpose of factorizing is to express the quadratic as a product of two simpler expressions, which can be particularly useful when solving quadratic equations or simplifying algebraic expressions. When a equals 1, the quadratic expression takes the form x squared plus bx plus c. Factorizing in this case involves finding two numbers that both multiply to give c and add to give b. These two numbers will form the coefficients of x in the binomial factors. For example, consider the quadratic x squared plus 5x plus 6. Here, the constant term c equals 6 and the middle term b equals 5. The numbers that multiply to give 6 and add to give 5 are 2 and 3. Therefore, the quadratic can be factorized as x plus 2, x plus 3. This method is straightforward when the coefficient of x squared, represented by a, is 1. However, when a is not 1, the process becomes slightly more involved. In this case, the quadratic takes the form x squared plus bx plus c, where a is a number other than 1. The goal is still to factorize the expression into two binomials, but the method requires an additional step. To factorize such quadratics, you need to find two numbers that multiply to give a times c, the product of the first and last terms, and add to give b, the coefficient of the middle term. For example, let's factorize the quadratic 2x squared plus 7x plus 3. First, we multiply a and c, which gives 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Now, we look for two numbers that multiply to give 6 and add to give 7. These numbers are 6 and 1. The next step is to rewrite the middle term, 7x, as 6x plus x, which transforms the quadratic into 2x squared plus 6x plus x plus 3. Now, we can factor by grouping 2x squared plus 6x, plus x plus 3. Factor out the common factors from each group, giving 2x, x plus 3, plus 1, x plus 3. Finally, factor out the common binomial factor, x plus 3, leaving you with 2x plus 1, x plus 3. In summary, factorizing quadratics means breaking them down into two simpler expressions, making them easier to solve or manipulate. When a equals 1, the process involves finding two numbers that multiply to c and add to b. When a is not 1, the factorizing method requires finding two numbers that multiply to a times c and add to b, followed by a process of grouping and factoring out common terms. This method allows you to reduce a complex quadratic into two binomial factors.